Hello, I'm Henry. If you're a person who wants advice about life after divorce, the worst thing you can do is take a woman like this seriously. In this video, Jenna will reveal that she has no idea what she's talking about, what she's done, or what she will do. Nevertheless, a monsoon of simps will enable her narcissism as an empowered queen instead of the self-absorbed, home-wrecking gold digger that she is.
Hey, it's Jenna, recently divorced, 47, and giving tips and asking questions about this new life after divorce. And I don't know, I'm in a different stage today. Honestly, I literally have been having a great week, amazing week, and then all of a sudden today, my emotions, I had the craziest thoughts, and I wonder, does anybody else feel this way?
Modern women sometimes use the word emotions beyond its proper meaning, when the real issue is that she had an epiphany, and the cognitive dissonance is making it nearly impossible to accept. The notion that her own age, her past, and her work status actually matter to other people in the real world. And like a dark cloud over a day at the beach, she hopes it would just pass over and not spoil everything. After a so-called amazing week, she realized that she did not just walk away from her husband, but she has also left behind his money and resources, which, if she had any access to at the time of this video, she would not be acting this confused.
I feel like I'm in mourning of the life I thought that I was going to have, and I'm kind of pissed at myself. I stayed in a marriage for 23 years and built up a family and my ex's career and everything. And we literally just got to where it was supposed to be everything we dreamed of. Like, owned a company, making, almost $1 million. And that was my breaking point. And I left it all.
In other words, it just got real. She is so used to running from her discomfort that, in a panic, at 47 years old, she doesn't know what to do. And she is soon facing a lifestyle of lesser means, maybe even poverty, and getting a job for the first time in who knows how long.
And I'm not a person that is about money, and I'm not a person who feels like they have to have labels and name brands and all that stuff. But I really...
Then get a job answering telephones somewhere. Move in with your favorite 304 bestie and her cats, and be done with it.
I have found that, I've kind of been in mourning of the, oh my gosh, I gave it all up, and I don't have...
Delusional women like Jenna cannot be reasoned with. Simps and womanists will keep giving Jenna more attention and respect, as though that's all Jenna needs at the moment. In reality, she cannot be helped, because she literally chose this. Either her plan was a catastrophe from the start, or she is.
I have a traditional career. I'm a photographer that, in my marriage, it was made to be a hobby. I never could outdo my other. I had to drop everything, to keep up with the family, for their needs, to make sure everything built in their career, their business, all that. So it wasn't like I had a 9-to-5 where I got 401, where I got steady income, all that. Yes, I market the crap out of my business. Yes, I'm an amazing photographer. And yes, I have so many amazing clients.
Yes, you left your 23-year marriage for no good reason. Yes, your kids would prefer mom and dad to stay together. Yes, once you swore an oath of your own desire to love your husband whom you personally chose to marry in sickness and bloody health forever. Keep this in mind, right here, next time you're in a serious committed relationship. The passions of your wife or girlfriend, which you think makes her endearing and special, can be used against you in the future. She just stated that her hobby produced no steady income. She's trying to sell the theoretical value as more real than the actual events.
Great, but the reality was, everything was around my family. So when I chose to leave, I give it all up. Like, all up.
Jenna was not a photographer, and she is blaming her ex-husband for that instead of herself for not following that path in a meaningful way. My mum took thousands of photographs. She loved it, and she took classic photos. That is not a photographer. A real photographer, even starting from square one, would have some type of plan for advancement. A fake one only complains about the square they're on. Professionals act professional and provide a service, both men and women. But modern women like Jenna honestly do not think they should have to do a damn thing for money. Only destroy lives and fester in self-inflicted drama.
And most people are like, oh, well, you should have got your end in court. No. South Carolina has some crazy, crazy rules.
Anyone who acts this entitled, selfish and shameless has no fundamental consideration for the souls and dreams of those she abandoned, who, to be blunt, don't owe her a single goddamn thing.
I came out of a situation where I had been mentally, financially for 23 years.
Right. Jenna, you are not wounded. No secret auras, no police reports. You did not get blindsided. You were unemployed, living a wealthy life for over 20 years. You had a so-called breaking point and left. I have no doubt that if you could have legally kicked out your whole damn family and spun it so you're still the victim, you would have. Modern women refuse to accept accountability, reality, or consequences for anything they do. The louder they act and the harder they fight, the more they think they deserve a reward for the effort. One day, they're 47 years old and single. Regardless of how good she might look for her age, it doesn't matter, because she cannot spend it in the real world on her so-called new life. She could still have a solid second chance with a good average man if she sprouted some humility, but she doesn't really want that. And no chads or wealthy men will trust her now. Maybe a side piece. Or, when she turns 50, a toxic stew of one-night stands in a cauldron of her own making. I don't care. You asked for it. Next, we have today's article to look over. Lack of economically attractive men to blame for decline in marriage rate, study suggests. Authors say many young men have little to bring to the marriage bargain, from September 2019. The study from the Journal of Marriage and Family is part of their 5-year, marriage statistics from roughly 2007 to 2017. Let's skip a bit in the interest of time. Researchers from Cornell University examined the specific socioeconomic characteristics that make a particular man and woman a good match. Translation: the more money the man makes, the better the match. Furthermore, to make use of the findings of their survey, researchers created profiles of fake spouses. Brilliant. I'm sure we'll uncover a better understanding of women's standards and how they're attracted to these fake spouses, and we're not going to frame real men as being subpar by comparison, and thusly it's all men's fault. But let's find out. The socioeconomic characteristics of these hypothetical husbands were then compared with actual unmarried men to track the differences. Well, in other words, fake men versus real men. Researchers found that the estimated potential husbands had an average income that was 58% higher than the actual amount of unmarried men earn. It turns out, chaps, that the potential husbands out-earn the actual men. The findings here could make for an educational piece of material, but to refer to the fake spouses as potential, why are the real men not referred to as, let's see, actual amount of potential husbands? and comparing them to the estimated fake unmarried men, or something like that. You see, guys, we must understand at some point, just get used to it. The language that is used to describe us, no matter what our disposition is, our potential, our politics, men, actual men, are commonly openly framed as inadequate. And that is enough to lump us all together into being judged as unworthy people. Except for Chad, of course. Back to the article. The fabricated husbands were also 30% more likely to be employed than real single men, and 19% more likely to have a university degree. So basically, real men need to live up to fake men's standards. Look, we real men, we live in the real world, where changes in the economy affected us over decades. Brexit, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, the C word, endless wars, threats of wars, rent prices, inflation, immigration, taxes, car prices, oil prices, the price of bloody eggs, so many sodding things. What happens is, we sit here, as men, right wing, left wing, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, as long as we're non-violent. We sit here and think, it's getting worse. It's getting really hard. It's getting hard for me, hard for women, hard for parents, single people, all races, all orientations, hard for everybody, worse and worse. The government really ought to do something more. We've got improvements to make. We should restore a true meritocracy while looking after those less fortunate. Everyone should have a baseline of equal rights and reasonable respect for an equal chance at the pursuit of happiness and that. And to some degree, that's true. But here's the nice kicker. Modern women agree with most of that, but they only apply that reasoning to themselves. Of course, there are also sensible, sincere women in the world, traditional and modern, but most modern women are entitled hypocrites who care nothing of a man's troubles, not in any meaningful way. We're just toxic losers to them, who don't add any value to their superior lives. I don't want it to be true. I would love to see it change in my lifetime. But modern women now act like the hard knock life only happens to them and their besties. Oh goodness, this affects you too. I support you. You got this. The system sure is against us, isn't it? How do they expect anyone to live like this? We're all friends in a rut in the same boat and so forth. But you know who the world is not supposed to affect? The dream man. The Chad, who's supposed to come and save you. You'll see it reflected in the way they regard their committed simp boyfriends. No, it's not supposed to affect him. He's supposed to fix these problems while deeply caring about everything she has to say. His problems are his problems. When his car breaks down, a crisis at the job, can't quite afford rent, things happen. Let's say he's got children from a previous relationship he takes care of and spends money on. He has expenses there. Or he has medical things that limit his resources and availability between appointments and recovery, etc. Listen, the more we talk about it, they get bored. If there were any modern women watching this video, they tuned out 10 minutes ago, mate. They don't care. They want a Brad Pitt type to come save them from their life decisions. But here's the problem. The average woman is not qualified with the characteristics and habits necessary to keep a man like Brad Pitt or Jason Momoa or whoever. They won't be able to keep him for a number of reasons, going on to literally cry for years and years that Chad won't marry them. Meanwhile, at any given time, they would still share a bed with that man at all costs, because they're only interested in the fabrication of a man versus the actual men. They care not about men generally. They care about whether a high-earning, highly attractive man or a roster of average blokes can benefit them as individuals. And if that's not you and you're a woman, I'm talking about modern women, and you have to wake up and look around you, sweetheart. I know. It's not nice to say these things about women. Some of my RP colleagues I'm entertained by. I learn a lot from them. Some of them get quite amused by these things. And it can be cathartic to finally make sense of the lifelong mystery and give these 3 or 4 hypocrites a long-deserved what for. But this is not what we were meant to believe in life. Whether by God's plan or natural evolution, it doesn't make sense for women to behave this way. They don't want to be told anything whatsoever that conflicts with their pseudo-queen delusion. And that is why in 2024, we have red pill, we have men going their own way, drizzle, passport bros, and absolutely no sympathy for the marital plight of average modern women. I hope you found some things you resonate with in this video. Thank you for taking the time to stop by this old bloke's cave for a chat. Now, take 1 hour, go for a walk, and lift some proper weights. Until next time.